Welcome everyone to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for Wednesday, June 8th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so still the Crescent Phase this week, which is about moving forward, perhaps with these new beginnings, the sort of freshness of our values since last weekend. That's when we had the new moon in Taurus, which has been this insight about what we truly value in life. And maybe asking yourself the types of questions of how can we cultivate these values? What can we do to really challenge ourselves this lunar cycle, this next roughly 29 days, to cultivate these things? And that's been seen by that new moon in Taurus. So in this early phase, it's about perhaps starting to move things forward and put things in action and start to get that momentum moving, because at the end of the week, we are going to be in the first quarter phase, which is more of an action-oriented time, perhaps even busier, but it's good to gain the momentum as we approach that. So the moon's going to be in Cancer today with, which is about that emotional body. So I think it's a great day for really listening to our feelings. Maybe a bit of that reflection as well, maybe with the past, maybe with our roots. And fundamentally, Cancer is that gateway to our soul. So really listening to our soul and our feelings and our emotions and seeing what they have to say, what kind of contributions they may have, so to speak, to these new beginnings. And perhaps spending some time with home, with family, those we're sentimentally connected with, can be great with the moon here. So the sun and Venus are still very close within that conjunction, and Venus will be behind the sun still. So there's a lot of this perhaps prana and energy and passion around the things that we value in life. And so it's good to be present with this to keep it nice and balanced, but really listen, listen to these higher insights about our values. And it still makes it great for the luxurious things in life within moderation, and perhaps even some new beginnings with those one-to-one connections, with those relationships, because Venus conjoining up to the sun like this is actually starting a new beginning, not only with that new moon, which is conjoining Venus, but because Venus's cycle involves this back and forward motion with the sun. So every time she conjoins the sun, it signifies a new shift, a new beginning with these Venusian things. So Venus does rule Taurus, so again, it is about the material world and self-reliance, our sense of self-worth, new beginnings with that, but also with our relationships, right? So with this new insight, what are these new things coming in at the moment that we can also work with and cultivate towards this new cycle with Venus? So that's going to be that conjunction. Now, in terms of the aspects today, we do have Mercury sextiling up to Chiron, and this is going to go exact in the evening time. So this is just an opening, but I think it's a good opening for healing in our lives. And I think particularly with mind, because Mercury is that very practical mental energy, which is coming out of Aries, which has been a very active time with the mind. But now that Mercury is shifting into Taurus, there's a bit more of this earthy sort of energy, this groundedness. And with Chiron and Pisces, I think this is showing us that we can have a bit more of this presence with the mind and perhaps a bit of peace there, right? The tranquility. And that's what Chiron has been helping us heal, is heal that connection to the present moment in Pisces. Maybe have a bit more faith and trust, accept things, and to really be. And it's through that beingness that I think can be very supportive for anything that we might be actively involved with, not only on a mental energy, but also on a daily level, because Mercury is associated with the day-to-day interactions, the exchanges, the daily routine. So presence there can go a long ways. And again, I think it's just an opening, but a very healing one. Now, as a backdrop, we do still have Saturn squaring up to Neptune. So this is more about perhaps the uncertainty about the future. This has been the overall theme. It's going to go exact next week. But also here, having that surrender, letting go, being present in all of this helps us stay on that sort of current, with the current, instead of fighting the current. Because if we try to figure out things too much, if we're not working with the uncertainty in the sense of acceptance, then it can create confusion and doubt and all that confusing energy of Neptune. So that's good for us to develop ourselves spiritually with that. And I feel like with Saturn, being patient about these things that we are building in the future. Now, Pluto is still trining up to the North Node this week, which is actually a very powerful transit, not very personally. We don't really feel it like in our personal lives, but it's a backdrop of making change. And I think it's a good week for making change, maybe stepping into our power to make change. And with the North Node in Leo, this is specifically about where we can have a bit more fun in our life, a bit more of the self-expression, really let ourselves out and express ourselves. And this is all very new collectively because, again, the North Node has just recently shifted into Leo again, which is saying collectively now is the time for these next couple of years to learn more about our self-expression, to learn more about tapping into that creative, playful, lighthearted energy of Leo. So although it's new, it's good to step into our power to actually cultivate that and treat it all as a learning process because, again, that North Node is all about learning. All right, so that's the Pluto trine North Node, and that's going to be the backdrop along with that Saturn squaring up to Neptune. But the strongest energy will be this healing energy, maybe even with Mars. The second half of the day, Mars starts to trine up to Chiron within a 1-degree orb. So this could be healing with our confidence, our motivation, our drive. But I think strongest, or at least a great opportunity today, is with the mind, bringing that presence, that beingness with it. And the moon in Cancer, emotional, very good for accessing the sentiments in life, perhaps a bit of that reflection, and our values still being cultivated in this very early phase of the lunar cycle, and asking ourselves again where we can perhaps start to move things in motion towards cultivating these larger things in life. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.